Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it was a good night to stay in.
Amateur night at the Apollo. All right, who's in charge?
Still today.
So you were pretty unhappy after that game the other day. What have the last couple of days been like in practice?
Practice has been pretty spirited. Guys responded the way I hoped they would. Obviously, I challenged them a little bit, challenged our staff, challenged myself mostly. But I don't know what day it is. What's today? Friday. So Thursday would have been yesterday. We had a couple of really good practices. Our defensive practice was probably the best defensive practice we've had all year. So we'll see. You know, it's a process. You know, trying to get us to the point where we can grind out W's, and that's where we're at. That's where everybody's at, really. You know, it's January 1st. Happy New Year to everybody. And it's time to try to grind out some wins, which we haven't been able to do in three really tough home losses where we had to lead in the last 3 minutes.
You're facing a team that's lost 2 out of 3, and I guess they're kind of the same position.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you think about Tulsa now. I mean, they're 15-3 in our league last year. They have 9 seniors. So they're a good basketball team. And they played a much tougher non-league schedule than they did last year, very similar to us. You know, they've had some quality wins, obviously, Wichita State, and that's when Wichita State had Van Fleet at full go. They played the undefeated South Carolina team. And locally, they got some tough rivals as well. Oral Roberts has got a great program. They played Little Rock, who was undefeated. So they went and won at Oklahoma State, I believe. So SMU made every shot against them. Very similar to Temple against us. SMU made an unbelievable percentage from the three-point line. Something like 11 for 13 or 10. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It's crazy though. They had a guy go 7 for 8.
Shape is 7 for 8.
So some of those were guarded. That'll break your back. But you know, last year we played really well at Tulsa. But I thought we were fortunate that their best player, Woodard, he took a couple of threes where we challenged him, but that went in and out. But, you know, you make your own breaks. I thought, well, you know, we did a good job. My biggest concern with them is their speed on offense and their offensive rebounding.
You talk about grinding out wins, and last year's win there was one of those.
Oh, yeah.
One of those types. How much do you go back and look at that and show the guys that kind of tape?
A little bit. I mean, we talk about some things. I mean, you know, we're the same team that held Kentucky to 64 points last year. You know, they had 8 or 9 NBA players. The most talented team since I've been alive to play college basketball. They got a whopping 64 against us. Purdue who's got a great team, got 59 in regulation. So, you know, same as at Tulsa. But we've grinded out wins this year. I mean, GW's got a heck of a team now. I think they're 12-1 or 13-1. We grinded out a victory and held them in the 50s. Same as at VCU. So it's not like we haven't done it. It's just the bottom line is our first 14-game schedule has been one of the toughest in the country, and we haven't been able to grind out 3 wins. You know, so you know you're 8 or 9 minutes away from everybody telling you how good you are. You know, that's the thin line in college basketball. I believe in it. I don't think that there's a lot of differential between talent levels. You got to be able to win close games. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We haven't performed down the stretch on either end of the floor, really, in close games. We haven't gotten crucial stops, we haven't gotten crucial rebounds, or we haven't converted on the offensive end in those losses. So that's just an area where we've got to learn. A big term is we got to value possessions offensively, especially late in games. Can't have turnovers from your best players late in the game. And there's a time when you've got to make sure we get a good shot or get fouled. It just has to happen. Obviously that's an area where we struggle a little bit in all 3 of our close losses.
How's Sherrod Cobb progressed since he's been here?
I think he's a much better player than he was a year ago to date. There's no question about that. I'd like to see him be more consistent with his defense. He's not the biggest guy on our team. He's the most slightly built guy on our team. But one guy that he's going to actually see some film of today was a guy that played at Louisville, Russ Smith, who was a great scorer. And got better. Obviously, he was there 4 years, but he took a lot of pride in his deflection total, his activity on defense, and I think Farad's capable of that. I need more out of him defensively. Our team needs more out of him defensively. Offensively, he's come a long way. He's playing with great confidence. I need more activity out of him. Obviously, that's not mutually exclusive. But you're asking about him. He's capable. He's got to use his quickness to go by people. He's got to use it defensively.
How much of a concern was his height when you agreed to recruit him?
Not a lot, to be honest with you. We were looking for somebody who could make shots, that wanted to be part of our program and wanted to play at our level, and that's what he wanted. He believed in himself. He wanted to play. Farad wanted to play at the highest level. So. I think he was a guy looking for somebody to show him the respect to take him at the highest level. We were really the only school to offer him at the highest level. I think in recruiting, I'll give you one of my secrets. When it comes to guard play, I think there's the most mistakes are made in recruiting when you factor in height. Because if you look in our league, when you look around and look at the best players in our league over the last few years, whether it was Nick Moore, Ryan Boatwright. Nick Moore originally went to Illinois State. Farad's one of the better offensive players in our conference. He originally went to Chattanooga. I think that there's a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket nationwide. If you look down at Davidson, Jack Gibbs is from Ohio. He's averaging I don't know, is he leading the nation in scoring? Close to 5'10". So Steve Logan, if you look behind me, a lot of mistakes I think are made in recruiting due to people putting too much on height, especially when it comes to guard play. Guard play is about putting the ball in the basket, creating offense for your teammates, and being able to think the game as well, and being crafty out there. So, and we weren't concerned. I've thought that way for a long time. About different guys. I think that's why Deontay Vaughn was available late when I got the job 10 years ago. He was truly about 5'11". So it's probably why Steph Curry was undervalued in the draft, because of his build.
The starting lineup, is it still one of those things you're practice to practice?
I just think this team needs to know. This team. Certain teams, I think that have the mindset where you can start a certain lineup and you're going to get the same type of defensive energy every game. You don't have to worry about that. This team needs that. To me, right now, we need the motivation. We need to be motivated defensively, and that's that as well as matchups as well, depending on who we're playing. So there are nobody sacred in the starting lineup. Starting lineup be based off what I think's best, and what we think's best as a staff for who we're playing the next day, and based off of what we see in practice.